The Gentlementor.
The one thing as children that we love to do the moment we get into a hotel is what?
Fill the
Fill the ice bucket.
And then you got to break
Yeah,
one
that's
of those
what we
cool,
wanna do.
They had those cool little glasses and break them out of the cellophane and have a little ice
Yes.
water there. Feeling kind of Dean
Yeah,
Martin.
little ice water.
What are all you people doing
course,
in
we
my
can't-
room?
You can't do you can't do the glasses anymore because they're like so you remember the things that were coming out on like 48 hours or something where like they were taking like the stuff they would clean the bathtub with and spraying it in the glasses and cleaning that out and then putting that back on the shelf. Yeah,
No
so now they've
way.
all moved to like plastic cups or paper cups that are wrapped up, and so you have to open them, so you don't have the glass cups anymore. But you can still,
There's a dude
yeah,
I would.
you could still
Here's
go get ice at least.
yeah, confession time. There's a dude I
Okay.
watch on the internet, and I can't remember. I don't really watch him because he more produces. He's more behind the scenes, and he gets these other guys to go out in front of him. But he does this thing, and I gotta think: is it Dan Bell? I think it's Dan Bell, and he does this thing called the dirtiest hotel rooms. And he like lets people like write in, and
I
they
don't-
suggest terrible motels and hotels they stay at. And he and his guys go out and they do like all the swab tests on everything and like flipping the mattresses and doing the black
I don't-
lights on everything.
I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I don't
You
want to
probably
watch
don't because you have to do that. For me, it's funny because
Yeah.
I'm like, it makes me feel good because I rarely stay in a motel, but I know that I usually stay in better motels than these. So I'm assuming that I'm like, and you as well, that, it wouldn't be. These are like, and some of them aren't even borderline. Some of them are straight on crack motels.
Oh, okay. They're like
They're
like prostitute
skanked out.
motels
Yeah,
and,
they're not Holiday
No-tell
Inns or
motel.
something
Yeah,
like that,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
I assume you're staying at better stuff than Holiday Inn. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I've got my routine when I go into a hotel. I check in the corner of the beds, check in the bathroom. Normally they've
Sorry,
got
keep showing my pimple. I have
a
massive
wipe,
pimple.
called Clorox wipe. I'm taking the Clorox wipe and hitting all the light switches and hitting the knob,
Even
the
even if
knobs,
it's
the
got the
handles,
safety
everything in there.
seal on it, go ahead and give it a second go over.
Go ahead and go. The remotes are now like all like waterproof. So I'm wiping the remote. Sometimes you walk in the room like in a package, but I'm like, yeah,
And
I don't
telephones
know
too.
what
Remotes and
those people are
telephones.
doing. So they're probably. I don't use the telephone. The first thing I do
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
get
I
into a
said
hotel
that,
is I
and I'm
take the
like,
telephone
Yeah, most
and
people
I set it
probably don't.
under the nightstand because I don't need the freaking telephone. I put it under the nightstand because I've got 4 things that I need to charge on the nightstand. And I don't need the telephone on there.
That's why you
So
get
please,
the second
hotels,
bed.
get rid of the telephone. I don't need it. Yeah,
Get the
I
second
don't
bed
need
for
it.
your devices. I'm sorry, Instagram. I'm hoping
So-
I'm not making you motion sick out there, people.
Oh, that's all right. There's only one viewer, and it's
You
probably me.
You can
So-
move over to Twitch if the Instagram's on. Well, it's at least fun.
Brighton.
It's something different. We did something
Grizzly Man. Who's Grizzly Man 1? Is that Brighton? Who's Grizzly Man 1?
different. Where do you see Grizzly Man 1? Did he move over to Twitch? He was on here. That's
It's
what it said.
no.
Grizzly
It
Man
says
1 was on here.
it says B Brighton. Grizzly Man 1 joined. I don't know what that is.
What are you
I
looking
don't know
at?
what that is. So if I request to
What are you
join,
looking at?
request to join, I'm looking at the
Instagram?
Instagram feed
Yeah.
on our phone.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Here's one. Somebody's dinging in. Oh, Mark wants to join. Oh, man, this is going to get confusing.
I want to join. I want to join the Instagram feed.
We're gonna go through the space.
The Gentlementor's accepted your request to join their live video. Sweet. I am in. Continue, please. Now, this feature requires camera access and microphone access. Nope, not going to do it. Sorry. Sorry. Not giving Instagram
I'd like
camera
to
or
appear
microphone
on your show,
access
but
right
without
now.
my camera or microphone.
Nope. I don't need Instagram listening to my conversations, so that's fine. What was I going to say? Something about the hotel.
You really didn't do it,
No, I really didn't. For reals.
dude? It's about to be the end of the world. It's a little late to be worrying about.
It's a little late to be worried about my own privacy right
Yep.
now. If Instagram's listening to my
Like
conversations, and following me.
Zuckerberg came out like a year, maybe 2 years ago. He said there's no social privacy anymore. I'm like, he wasn't lying either, was he?
No, he wasn't. It's funny though, because the different generations are like, they're like, privacy. What do I need privacy for online? that's the way my children are. I don't know about your girls.
I'm sure they're the same way. They don't think about it.
No,
They don't know why they would need privacy. We had I constantly I'm gonna break off here live on Instagram because my arm's falling asleep. Join us on Twitch.
Yeah,
Soon.
please join us on Twitch. We'd love to have you.
Okay please share that video. Absolutely, get it right out there.
There was something I was gonna jump into.
Say, what was I starting to say there? It was the thing I was gonna put.
We were talking about your daughters and privacy, but there was something even before that.
We had. I've been telling you about our Bible.
Put your headphones on.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn these speakers off here.
Good, because I just don't feel right talking to you without headphones.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
We were our Twitter. No, it's not Twitter. It's got nothing to do with Twitter. I don't know what made it. Text. Our text Bible study that we do in the mornings.
Yes.
Talking about the like 2 weeks I've held them over this thing. Like I say they, it's mostly Isabel. I get a little bit of Lily. Rarely Guy. This whole conversation that happens between the snake and Eve.
Yeah.
And they're like wanting to power through it. And I'm like, no.
Okay.
This is not where you power through. This is where, let me borrow another. Can I borrow a cool phrase that I've learned from you?
Go for it.
Can we just hit pause? This is where you hit pause.
Just for a moment.
There is so much life information, education, psychology. There's so much that happens in this conversation that you got to sit down and look at it. And you got to sit down and you got to think about what's going on here. Because they ain't no new tricks. There's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly.
Let me see. Where's that quote? And this is the thing. This is the thing we were talking about already ago about that this is all set up and kind of running according to a plan that was laid out some time ago. And so this conversation happens with Eve, and I'm like, you got to beware that, first of all, everybody who asks you a question ain't your friend. And what I mean by that is we are so egocentric that as soon as someone asks us a question, we cannot wait to talk about ourselves. We love that feeling of affirmation and recognition, and we will just run with that. And I'm like, that's the first thing you got to watch for. Is that sometimes people will come up and do that knowing that they can get you to spill your guts. And maybe that ain't good. Maybe they don't need to know all that. There's a Bible verse that tells us, warns us to be wary of who we allow to pray for us. Well, if that's true, how much more should we be wary of things that people say that appeal to our egos and to our, stay tuned for chapter 2, our emotions? Because that's the next thing he does. That's the next move. He gets her to expose herself. He asks her a question, and she tells him an answer. And she's honest. But she gave the honesty to the last being that she should have ever given it to, because he goes, the conversation turns, and now that becomes the focus. So watch that. That's a tell. People will do this. People will do the first thing. They will appeal to your emotions and hope to get information from you that they can use.
Oh, that's so good.
The second thing they will do is a misdirect. They're not after that first thing anymore. Now they're coming after your defense because you just told them.
Isn't that what we're dealing with right now in the government? It's a misdirect.
You just told them what's holding you back. So now they're going to attack that. That's what he does. Did God really say? Watch that. Did God really say?
So what you're trying to say is God knew what he was talking about?
He goes right. He's got her emotionally and her ego so stimulated that he goes right at God, and she never winces. It never
Never once.
makes her go like that. She just
Yep.
goes with him because she's already in there.
Yep.
She's already invested. And
That's
that's
the whole-
part 3 of the conversation. That's everything you watch in the news is part 3 of the conversation. If I throw you that emotional grenade, you'll react without thinking. And then you become my army against my enemy, and I have the control.
That's part of the story. How we are enamored by narrative.
And it appeals to our
create-
ego, and it appeals to our tribalism.
It does. And if you can create a narrative that puts people in that place that bolsters their ego, they'll do anything you want. Basically.
You can put so much stuff on them
Yeah.
because they're
absolutely.
not even watching. They're just,
No.
this feels good. Feels good. Feelings and tribalism. This is what this all boils down to. It's in our brain stem.
So
That's what
that-
they're appealing to.
That thing that you posted today, I think it was today, you put on our story about emotions being optional. That was absolutely I've been talking with somebody about this, someone about my emotions, that they're all optional.
And
And here's something that my spiritual confidant Willie George said. I love him, and he talks about this today. The Willie George, when I was listening to him today, and this is a podcast that he did months ago, I'm sure, but I'm just catching up, where he talks about that action trumps emotions, action trumps feelings.
Always.
So my actions, even though I've got this feeling that I want to do something, I got this feeling, Doug, that I want to slit your throat, but my action says I don't have that. But I'm just saying. But my action is, no, I'm going to love you. Even though I feel like deep down inside, oh my gosh, you've hurt me so bad. I just want to do something terrible to you. But no, my action says, no, I'm going to love you because of who you are, because you're God's creation. It trumps all those emotions, all those feelings, everything. Yeah.
The thing I
and
hope
the two things, I'm sorry. Two things, that thing that you posted, that thing that I listened to this morning when I was in the shower, it was like bam, bam, bam. They just come together immediately. And I'm like, wow, that's exactly what I need. That's exactly what I want to feel.
I hope
are optional.
that people stuck in long enough to hear what he was saying, in as much as when he says emotions are optional, it doesn't mean that you don't feel emotions. It's what we always say. You don't have to act on emotions.
Yes.
And when you do, 9 times out of 10, you're going to F-word yourself up.
That's exactly.
No one out there except you and I know these things, except that I could say, if you could see behind the scenes of this podcast, you know that you're looking at examples of these two things. There's a guy here who knows how to control his emotions, and there's a guy who doesn't. And every time he loses control, he goes in the ditch.
Here's the thing, and I think pilots have, in my experience with my dad being a pilot, me having a little bit of training, and I've got a few friends that are pilots. It's like, that's the thing. Emotions are indicators. And this guy in that video that you posted, it's data. All it is data. You take the data and you decide. Right. When you're flying an airplane, you have a myriad of instruments that tell you all kinds of data. And based on that data, you decide what you want to do with the aircraft. You decide if you need to gain altitude. You decide if you want to increase or decrease your speed based on that data. But if we just track one piece of data, our emotions, we're going to crash every time. We need to completely take all of that stuff in.
And amen.
We got to take all that stuff in.
Here's what I know, because I know and I can hear in my own mind like reactions to what you're saying and defenses to what you're saying, and they all boil down to this: it's all an attempt to get rid of personal responsibility.
Yes.
Because here's the real truth. And I had to track this down myself. So this is one of them 4 fingers pointing back at me moments. And it's been a lifelong thing. I have a terrible temper. I have a terrible inability to control my emotions. My father had the same thing, and I was told stories about that as a kid, which guess what that will do. I fought and struggled with this, and this is what I've come to realize. There is a moment. It might be a split second.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're so ready to jump on that emotional train when it comes by.
True.
You're not taking a second to think about if you should be on that train. You're just getting on. And then acting like, oh, it's a big giant train. What could I ever have done? Because I did that.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I started examining myself and hate to say exposing myself, but I did. I had to myself and go, look at what you're doing. Because it began to infuriate me that I could not control this.
Yep.
And it was like, no, you can always control this. There's a second there. You don't want to admit that second's there.
Because we don't want to take responsibility.
That gets rid of all the responsibility. If that second's not there, I was just carried away with the wind. That's always, man, go back to 1985 and every girl that wound up pregnant before graduation and it just happened.
Yep.
Same thing. Yep. They had an excuse. They were 15 years old. They were idiots.
Yeah.
I'm 52. I got no excuses left. If I continue to do this, it's all
I have
on
done
me.
all the idiot things at 52 and 51 years old.
Let's rename this, instead of the Gentlementor, the Anti-Idiot Hour. And not because we're anti-idiot. I'm just going to tell you everything I've ever done where I was an idiot. Every occasion where I made an idiot of myself in hopes that you'll listen and not do that. How about that? That's the real theme of the podcast.
That's it. That should be it. That should totally be it. No, and I don't say Doug. I say thing that you quoted years ago that I'm like, don't be dumb. That's my favorite quote from you.
If you can possibly help.
Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. And you have, and it makes you stop and go, am I being dumb? Yeah, I'm being dumb. No, I'm not being dumb. Yeah, I am being dumb.
Oh yeah, I'm being dumb lots. Most of the time when I'm having trouble, I'm the cause. It takes us so long to get around to that because we don't want to see that part of it.
No, we don't.
I don't want to know that I'm the problem. I want somebody to come by and tell me it's somebody else's fault. Man, it's so much easier. That's why that villain stuff works so well. That's the Adam and Eve. That's the Eve and the snake thing. I mean, that's when he points it out and he says, "Oh, look, you're a victim. There's the villain." I'm like,
"Yep,
man." That is the entirety of modern existence. That's all that goes on. Turn on any news channel. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Somebody telling somebody that somebody else is the problem. Hey, so-and-so's oppressing you. There you go. Here's the format. Charlie Sansom. I sent it to him. I posted it on his little comment that he made. Because he said something about same day. And I'm like, oh yeah, this has been around for a long time. And then I posted the Bible verse of the serpent talking to Eve. I'm like, there it is. Right there. That's what Marxism and everything are based on. That's the blueprint.
I feel like that it's important for you were talking about your music in Psalms.
Wow.
And I feel like it's important for you to create sorry, I forget that I need to make my purple match yours.
that is just, all of a sudden I got a rattle and I was just like, what's going on?
I feel like you should put a psalm to music to Charlie Coming to America. Oh. Coming to America.
Coming
Charlie.
to America. That's my
They're coming to America.
When I sing that.
Charlie.
My mom will stand up and salute. Boy, she loves that.
Oh my goodness.
The Gentlementor.